Sometimes reviews go wrong, or should I say what I do with my review stuff goes really wrong. So this is the Iflight Cinebee 75 HD, which I should be reviewing. Sadly, I've broken mine, and as you can see, it's dismantled because I got mine in with a DSMX receiver because they didn't have the the FreeSky receiver in stock. So I thought I'll get the DSMX and then change it over. But along the way, either by myself or it was faulty from the box, I suspect myself, when I removed the receiver and put in the XM Plus, it wouldn't bind, and I was getting, sorry, it would bind, but I was getting no stick controls in Betaflight, and then I messed around, and either it was like that initially, or I suspect it's my fault because I was using too hot a soldering temperature. I lifted the pad on the only UART which is exposed on this little tiny flight controller, which pretty much puts paid to that, and I've since removed the little connector which basically this sits into, to try and find UART 1, which is set up for smart audio, but I can't find it. And because you can't get the flight controller on its own, and the little stack is not available yet via Banggood, who sent me this, to put it bluntly, I'm a bit screwed. So hopefully Iflight can sort me out with a spare, but if not, it's going to be some time before this little guy sees the light of day, which is annoying really, because I was really excited about this guy. As you know, if you've watched the other videos, I'm not a huge fan of whoops. I didn't like the Mobular, didn't particularly like the trash can, you know, and quite a few others. So I've sort of stayed away from the Mobular HD, etc. And I'm glad I have, actually, because a lot of people are having issues with the ESCs blowing, etc. I know one of the lads I fly with got one from the UK, and his board, or should I say the ESC on the board, lasted 3 flights before it fried itself. But luckily, Unmanned Tech in the UK are sorting him out. So I'm kind of glad I stayed away from those, but I was hoping for something better from this because it's a semi-carbon frame, should be decent motors, and the recent Iflight kit has been really, really good. So yeah, pissed off about that. The other thing just to quickly talk about is Vifly contacted me and wanted to see if I wanted to do a review on the Vifly Finder 2. And I kind of said, well, I'm not going to do a review just on that because I've been using these things for ever, and they're in most of my quads. As you can see, I already have a stock of them. So I said I'd just do a quick mention in one of my build videos, and they sent me one anyway. But if you're flying quads and you don't use one of these, you're crazy in my opinion, because this thing has saved my bacon so many times. I have it in the CG, in my smooth operators. Pretty much all my quads have got the Vifly buzzers in, for 2 reasons really. One, they're really cheap at about a tenner, and 2, they're super loud. And if you haven't seen these, essentially it's just a 5-volt buzzer with its own little battery, and if your battery gets disconnected when you crash or you get stuck in scraggle, etc., after 60 seconds it will sound a piercing alarm, which you can use to find your quad. The early versions lasted for about 5 or 6 hours. I think these later versions last for about 36 hours, and this newer one comes with a super bright LED as well, which might help if you're, I suppose, hard of hearing or you lose your quad and it's night time, etc. So yeah, so shout out to them. As I said, this is a product I use in all my builds, because for the small amounts of money it gives you a big amount of peace of mind. In other news, I bought myself one of these because I couldn't be bothered to review it, and this is the Iflight, what is it called, Twin G or something like that. And this is basically an F7 flight controller with 2 gyros mounted at 90 degrees to each other. And the idea of this guy is that you run those 2 gyros at the same time, and then Betaflight will sort of average the data coming from them, and you should get cleaner gyro traces. So this guy is going to be going in a quad, obviously with a 4-in-1 ESC, and we'll see how it does, whether it's worthwhile tinkering with or not. I've also secretly been playing with this, and I haven't built it yet. As you can see, I'm sort of midway through it. This is the Drone-fpv-racer, and here we go, Petite or Petit Soldat. So basically small soldier in French, and it actually comes with a very small soldier. And I've been interested in this frame for quite a while actually. It looked really nice, and it's pretty light at about 105 grams. And this is the on frame of a pretty good French racer, or should I say French freestyle pilot. And I really liked it because it's got this sort of slender body, which is pretty long. We've got 2mm carbon, and then you've got a squashed X with 5mm arms. And as you can see, it comes with some rather nice TPU parts. So we've got a crossfire antenna holder, and we've got an SMA connector holder, which has the mount for the TBS Unify pigtail. It also comes with a few other bits. So you get a GoPro Session mount, or should I say ramp, and it also comes with this rather nifty capacitor holder, and these capacitors come with the kit. They're 1000 UF 35 volt. Never actually used that much capacitance in a build before, but the idea of this is it essentially just, get this top plate off, just sits over these rear standoffs, and gives you a nice mount for your capacitors. And it also comes with a couple of these little Waffle FPV capacitor ends. So instead of using the prongs, you just sort of solder that over the top. So yeah, so initial impressions are it's a really nice slick frame. It feels super sturdy. We've got chamfered 5mm arms, as I've said. Camera mount is particularly nice because you can use 2 screws, so everything stays in really stable. Obviously we've got, if I can find one, got your antenna mount like so, or you can mount like so. And the one unusual thing you're probably thinking about when you're looking at this is, why is Coppertop FPV using a KISS board and a Wolf PDB? And the answer to that question is a couple of lads, in fact quite a lot of lads, fly KISS stuff. And a couple of the experienced guys I sometimes fly with recently built KISS quads, and 2 of them have just been raving ever since about how good it flies. And I've never really sort of rode that boat. So this is going to be a semi-KISS build. So we've got the Wolf PDB, which does tons of fancy things, and then we've got the KISS V2 flight controller. But I'm going to be using mine with the Iflight Slick BL Heli ESCs, and the reason for that is the KISS ASCs are 25 quid a pop, and both of the aforementioned guys had ESCs die on them within days. The first guy, one melted in flight and caused a fire, and the second guy had a very minor crash and a component dropped off the ESC, which isn't good news. Now obviously in this hobby stuff happens and you can't really read too much into that, but it's not particularly good when you've spent 25 quid on each ESC, So yeah, so having said that, they're both flying without issue now. And as I said, both of these guys are really experienced, so you can't really put it down to them messing up with soldering or anything like that. So yeah, so this is just my sort of, I suppose, sticking my toe into the KISS world. It's super expensive, and I'm not sure whether it's something I'm going to particularly like, because I've flown Betaflight for so long and know it sort of so back to front. I'm not sure I'll sort of like the swap, but I kind of thought I'd give it a go and see what the score was. The Flywoo 2207 1750 kV on this quad, and the idea for this, guys, because it's pretty light, I'm sort of going to use this for sort of, I suppose, potentially more technical flying. So I'm not looking for super power. I just want a relatively light freestyle quad which will hopefully be sturdy, to sort of practice some stuff on, and I thought it'd be a good time to try some KISS stuff. So shout out to Drone-fpv-racer. As I said, I bought this with my own money, but the quality seems really good. So it's just really down to how long it lasts. You can see the amount of screws, by the way, which hold these plates and sandwich the arms. On the other side you've got press nuts, which I really like. So you've got a ton of bolts holding these arms, and there's absolutely zero wiggle. So yeah, so really good frame, really reasonably priced. And the major reason why I'm not using my beloved or another beloved Hyperlaw CG in this is because the Wolf PDB doesn't really fit well in the Hyperlaw CG, and I was hoping it would fit better in this, which it does, but obviously it does stick out quite a way, albeit when you stick a battery on there you'll have to be unlucky to hit this. A couple of other nice things, actually, just little things that you notice. The rear of the plate has countersunk holes and the front doesn't, and the reason for that is the rear has countersunk screws, so your battery doesn't get caught on it, and the front doesn't need that, and non-countersunk screws are a little bit stronger than the countersunk varieties. The pad that sits your LiPo on underneath is actually sort of cut out, so these things literally sit within the carbon, which will stop them from coming off. So yeah, really impressed with that. It just caught my eye. I've been looking at it for a bit. So yeah, that's that. What else have I got? I've got one of these HG LRC hammer antennas to try out. See how they last. I'm a bit funny with antennas. I tend to use these little fox ear lollipop 2s simply because they sort of survive. I tend to connect them directly to my my VTX, but they're not particularly great when it comes to range, and that's probably, in fairness, down to the fact that you end up sort of swamping them with the battery. So I kind of thought I'd give this little guy a go, see how it lasts. It's sort of shrink wrapped almost in plastic, so feels pretty robust, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, and that's kind of about it really. My Fat Shark HDRs developed a problem which is really annoying, so I've had to sort of send them back under warranty, and I made a warranty claim via Fat Shark's website, and it took them over a week to come back to me, which I think is pretty crap, to be blunt. I had to contact them twice, but once they actually made contact, some guy in the UK who does the warranty claims on their behalf contacted me pretty much immediately. So I sent those off today to be repaired, and they reckon it'll be a week before I get them back again, which is pretty good. But a bit disappointed that yeah, it took Fat Shark over a week to come back to me, which I think is much too slow for a premium product. Having said that, you know, if you bought some Sky Zones or something like that, then you know, chances of you finding somebody in the UK to repair them are probably remote, so can't really complain too much. But yeah, that's it, I think. I've cancelled the Catalyst Machine Works Raging Droner that I was going to review, and the reason for that is the Raging Droner, while I absolutely think the frame is stunning, I'm not a racer, and at the end of the day I'd be going for a lot of time and hassle, you know, not just reviewing the frame but building it, because I always build what I review because it's the only way to really test something. In the end I just thought I haven't really got time for this, and it was costing me money to get it shipped DHL, otherwise it takes ages to get here. So yeah, so in the end I just said to Neil at Catalyst not to send me one. So there's no hard feelings there. I still think it looks a stunning frame. I just really haven't got time to build things that I wouldn't fly myself, not being a racer. Other than that, somebody from HobbyMate contacted me, and they're going to send me a dual channel charger to review, which is nice because everybody likes a free charger. But yeah, hopefully I can get this Iflight Cinebee going soon, because I really like the idea of a small little quad that gives relatively decent HD footage. Yeah, that's about it. I've got a little Shen Drones frame coming, the 3-inch sort of cinematic GoPro 7 carrying little quad, which I'm going to play with in my own time. But that's about it, I think. So yeah, cheers for watching this waffly video. Once I've built this guy up, I'll do a proper overview and obviously flight testing, etc. And then I'll probably do a video on the, you know, comparing KISS V2 versus my standard Betaflight setups, and if it's really worth spending, you know, 50 quid on a PDB and 50 odd quid on a flight controller when you can, you know, buy a Betaflight flight controller for 30 quid with a built-in PDB. Right now it feels like going back in time to sort of two and a half years ago when we used to use these PDBs. But let's see. I'm also going to try and add possibly GPS to this little guy, but I don't know. Depends if I can find somewhere good to put it. But yeah, cheers for watching, guys. Thanks very much. Check out this frame. As I said, it's one I bought myself. It's not sponsored in any way. I just think it's a pretty nice light 5-inch freestyle frame. Cheers. Thanks. Bye bye.